This is Marjabin Baraj from Pakistan, and you're watching my YouTube channel Insani Ittihad, which aims to invoke a little bit of humanity in all of us through awareness and understanding. So I came across this really short, amazing video by Rabbi Zechariah Wallerstein. Unfortunately, he passed away this year, I guess. And I came across his content and his Torah wisdom through Torah Anytime. You can subscribe to that channel. Amazing talks, short videos, but powerful messages. And I had started, listening to him and many of the other rabbis. And it was such a painful and a very, very sad news to hear that he passed away. May his soul make an aliyah at heavens to Rabbi Hashem, and But I wanted to discuss this very, very beautiful concept that he talked about in regards to, I will put the link in the description so you can check it out. So it's in regards to wives complaining or saying that their husbands don't give them time or give them attention or spend time with them, or don't love them. The thing the wives the rabbi discussed that there was this couple, and the wife said the husband doesn't love her anymore. Although Rabbi Zechariah actually explained that it's important in a marriage that a husband should understand that he is not only responsible for paying the bills or mortgage or whatever, but he is also responsible for having this closeness and intimacy, and being there for and spending time with his wife. I thought as a woman I should also give an advice, although I am not capable of doing that. One, because I'm single, who the hell am I talking about? So I mean, being single and it's just inappropriate. But even then, I think it's a good wisdom, and I actually learned this wisdom from our matriarchs and our matriarchs, the Jewish matriarchs who lived in Mizraim. So since I had my first Seder, and I observed, to be specific, a Passover this year, a month ago, I guess. A month ago, almost, yeah. So we are into Shavuos, which is great. Okay, Shavuos is the giving of Torah. It comes after 49-50 days after Passover. But yeah, coming back to the point that this advice I have sort of absorbed or gained from the matriarchs or the women who lived in Mizraim. Now, I feel for women who feel that their husbands don't love them, they need to understand and they need to take inspiration from women in Mizraim. The Jewish women in Mizraim were the most amazing and inspirational women. Their husbands were broken emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Yet, they felt this responsibility to uplift their spirits and strengthen their souls, their physical bodies even, through intimacy. And they, it was the women who were, responsible for initiating and creating that intimacy rather than the other way around. And then I realized that, majority of the Jewish people are in diaspora. I mean, in Eretz Israel, there is a huge number of, the Jewish population living, but even a larger number is living in diaspora. Literally, living in diaspora means living in Mizraim in a way, because there is, I mean, okay, fine, the Jewish communities who are affluent and large in number, like Jewish communities in New York and other places of the world where they're flourishing and they're thriving and they're affluent and they have the means to create Jewish structures and Jewish lifestyles in the diaspora outside Eretz Israel. And that's also important. But I just wanted to focus on this thing, that the men who are working so hard to earn their living in these diaspora countries, in these non-Jewish countries, Jewish women, Jewish wives need to be sensitive and need to be sensitized, just like the women in Mizraim were, sensitive towards the struggles and challenges the Jewish men went through in Mizraim, and the struggles which were put onto them by Pharaoh or by Egyptians. I think Jewish men still somehow live in that Mizraim. It's not people say it's a Mizraim mentality or that slave mentality. I say no. They actually live in Mizraim. Even if a Jew is living in New York, constantly there are pressures, there are intimidations, there are challenges for a Jewish man to, assimilate, to leave Hashem, to, and now with the anti-Israel and anti-Semitism wave because of the Israel-Palestine conflicts, it's even more harder. They're making more money, and if they're donating to charities which exist in US or other parts of the world but also exist in Eretz Israel, they're accused of, supporting apartheid or whatnot. I mean, look at how the world treats the successful and affluent Jews in US or in the West. They accuse them of evil intentions, controlling the world, and whatnot. Jewish women, on the other hand, although there is a huge struggle, I mean, who would not know more than me to be a Jewish, I mean, to aspire to be a Jewish woman, how strugglesome and how difficult that is. I can tell you that. I mean, for women, Jewish women, life is also very, very challenging. I mean, whether it is, observing the mitzvot, living a very orthodox life, because, especially in the West, where, you need to look good, you need to show your skin, you need to do this and that, and then you have to, and you as a Jewish woman, you need to be modest, you need to do this and that, and those arranged marriages, those shidduchims, yeah, it is challenging, definitely. It is challenging for women also. But I'll go back to Passover, where, in the Haggadah, it is said that, remember that this is for your male children. You see, Pharaoh was threatened by the male children of Israel, not the female. He said that let the female children live, and if there is a boy born to a Israelite woman, that should be executed. Yeah, one might say that they were waiting for their leader to liberate them from Mizraim, and the Pharaoh's concern was in that regard. But I think generally, the Gentile world is more threatened by a Jewish man, because more of the mitzvot are revolving around the Jewish men. Jewish men are the custodian of Torah, of the Jewish, thought, Jewish religious thought, Jewish cultural thought. The discussions, the interpretation, the code of Jewish law, the Shulchan Aruch, is debate between Jewish religious men, debating how to implement the Jewish law and how to, go about it. So it's, by and large, Judaism, Jewish thought, Jewish spirituality, Jewish connection with Hashem is more, more strengthened or more materialized by doing and by actions and by the Jewish men are the ones who are literally physically transforming the world around us into holiness. So the threat, the Gentile, no, okay, I'm kind of saying Gentile world that no, but the non-Jews feel more threatened from the men rather than the women, which is an obvious say, because women are, they're easily subjugated. Maybe, yeah, that could be the reason. But in that context, I feel that in a marriage, the spirituality, the intimacy, the closeness, and the responsibility of making the marriage more lovable and more, amazing is more on women. Yeah, I do feel that. It's more on women. And I think the Jewish women in Mizraim teach us this, that, when their husband would just come from this exhorting, and literally they're broken men coming into those Jewish women, into those Jewish homes, and these Jewish women made sure that they have the essence of life. They still are able to feel that they're human, they're wanted, they're loved. And the connection these women built with Hashem, there were no mitzvot. There was no brit milah. The covenant which represented Hashem and Israel. The foremost mitzvah was the circumcision, and they even forgot that. And these women made sure that Hashem is part of their lives through giving them, children, through intimacy. So they literally used sex, which is very material, very worldly, and they spiritualized that, literally telling the world that, we who are the most beautiful and amazing creation of Hashem, we're not sexual beings, we are actually spiritual beings. And if sex is the medium to connect to that spirituality, whether it is between a man and a woman, and unifying their soul as one, and then connecting it to Hashem, because you see, after all, it's Hashem who gives us children, not the man and woman just, mate and they have children. No, that's, at least that's not a Jewish belief, or that's not what I have understood in Judaism. It's Hashem who gives, children. It's Hashem's involvement when a husband and wife come close. Hashem actually is part of that whole thing is part of that. Even in the gender, I mean, we're talking about all the human creation is through Hashem's will, and Hashem is part of that, process. So next time if you sleep with know that Hashem is involved, and if there is another life which is, created out of this intimacy, that's Hashem. I mean, the man and a woman, like Yaakov says to Rachel, I can't give you children, Hashem gives children. And Hashem said that he opened the womb of, Leah, and she gave birth one child after another, despite the fact that she thought that her husband didn't her enough, but she had children. So I think that this is so amazing that we need to, I think in my message as a woman would be to a woman who is married to somebody who is a wife and feels that her husband doesn't love her enough. I think she needs to look at things into this direction. That, sometimes it's just, the husband is just so exhausted and so spiritually, disconnected that he just feels that he just has to, work hard, pay the mortgage, pay the bills, take children to the school. It's a very mechanical and robotic life because he's just not connected to. He is just not connected spiritually to Hashem, and therefore he can't connect spiritually and emotionally to his wife. And maybe the wife has to, step up and make an initiative to, add some spirituality to their relationship. And it doesn't matter if your husband doesn't talk to you or doesn't spend. There are a lot of pressures in the world, Gentile, in the world in general, that I think for Jewish men, it's even harder to, cope with them, where there is just so much of intimidation, so much of judgment towards the Jewish men. Life is really, really difficult for the Jewish men, especially in the diaspora, and even in Eretz Israel, because Eretz Israel is a safe place, but is it fully spiritualized or cleansed, that you can feel the Shekhinah of Hashem every moment and every corner of Eretz Israel? Maybe I haven't been there, so I don't know. Maybe you can. I went to India and I felt that there was this connection that I had with the divine, with Hashem. And I think that saved me in India, in Pakistan, and all through my life. So I think as women, because the hardship and the brokenness of the Jewish men didn't tainted the connection the woman had with the divine, with Hashem. We didn't even participate. My previous rabbi, by the way, my rabbi has promised me to start our Torah classes again. So I'm really happy, so excited. But yeah, what I was saying. So my rabbi, that is Zechariah, he told me that the when Israel made that idol in Sinai, at Mount Sinai, when they made that idol of a calf, it was all men, not the women. Women never participated in that sin of adultery. And I think that is because somehow women have a more direct or more frequent connection with Hashem. And then we don't take, or we don't internalize the worldly material responsibilities so deeply into our system. So it is very easy for us to be spiritually connected with Hashem. But since, men are seen as responsible and given this this responsibility to take care of every material need of their family, of their wives. So it is a lot of pressure on them that they need to connect with the world to the fullest so that they have the material means, that means money or whatever, so they make sure that they have a home or a car or whatever material worldly needs or necessities one has to acquire to make sure that their Jewish home or their home, their marriage, their children are able to have a functional life in terms of the worldly life which goes on, and they're able to grow in life. But at times they just overlook the spiritual aspects, and therefore that's the reason that they do not spend more time with their wives or on intimacy or connecting with Hashem. So I think we as women, we as wives need to, I guess, put an extra effort into the relationship and marriage to it's gonna be okay sort of attitude. And I think Rachel is an amazing inspiration. The women in Mitzrayim are a great example, especially if you are living in diaspora. Just put it on the Gentiles. They are the ones who are putting pressures to the Jewish men. That's why they're okay. Don't do that. Put the blame on the Gentiles, ladies, and then you would have a great Jewish marriage. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that. But I think make an effort. Don't just say that he has to love me and he has to do this and he has to come on, give him a break. There is a lot of pressure on him also. Try what you can do. And it's a two-way traffic. It takes two to tango. So take the inspiration from the women in Mitzrayim. Beautify yourself. And try to get the much needed intimacy. And just be like Leah. I don't care if my husband loves me. I love him. And he's mine. But I will complain. I will keep having his children. These matriarchs, these stories in Torah teach us profound life lessons which work in our mundane life of 21st century. When you read Torah, we were going to read the book of Ruth and Torah also for the entire night on Shavuos. So take a time and kind of internalize Torah and the stories of matriarchs and patriarchs into our own lives. I think life becomes such a beautiful concept when, at least for me personally, it has become such a beautiful concept that I have somehow induced and internalized Torah into my life, into my thought process. So I think I want to give this advice to all the Jewish women, especially the ones who are married. So hope we all find our soulmates, out of love. We're able to connect with Hashem on a very deep spiritual way. Wishing you all the best for Shavuos, if you're observing. If not, whatever you're observing and however your life is, please live it with simcha, with joy, because it's a gift from Hashem. Thank you very much.